So Duit, agus fáilte chara. Hello and welcome, beautiful witches, souls, me owl flowers. Today's temple library entry, we are at the hearth where truths are held and witnessed. So I do have a couple of notes here. We are continuing on from our last temple entry, the Magdalene Laundries, Ireland's dark history and institutional mistreatment. If you didn't catch that one, be sure to check that out. Grab a cup of tea, some sort of liquids. I am on one of my smoothies today, and join us at the hearth. Obviously, quick disclaimer, if you have any religious trauma, go gentle with yourself. So my reasons for doing this is pretty similar to the last one, lifting the rug and witnessing what's underneath, keeping the voices of the victims alive, ancestral and cultural healing, and also remembrance. So we will start off like the last one with a question. What was the Bon Secours Mother and Baby Home, also known as the Tuam Home? So I will pop the name up just in case I am mispronouncing it. But the Bon Secours Mother and Baby Home, also known as St. Mary's or the Home, operated in Tuam, County Galway, Ireland from 1921 to 1961. It was a Catholic-run institution for unmarried mothers and their children. So before it became the home, the building was actually a workhouse built in 1841 to house destitute people during the famine. It later became a military barracks during 1916 up to 1923, and then in 1925 it became the house. Okay, so who was sent to this home institution? Unmarried pregnant women were sent there to give birth. There were no midwives, maybe trained nurses, as there was a prohibition on nuns attending births up until 1936. So the women who had their babies were required to remain in the home for up to 1 year, performing unpaid labour for the sisters as reimbursement for services rendered for going in and having their baby in there. So they were also separated from their children who were raised in the home, in the institution, until they were adopted, usually without maternal consent. So women who had more than 2 pregnancies outside marriage were sent directly to the nearby Magdalene Laundries. So, don't collect your 200, don't pass go, straight to the Magdalene Laundries after giving birth as a punishment for their sins. And I can't really pronounce this word. I'll put it up there on the screen, but it's meaning repeated sexual transgression. By the end of the year, the mothers left while their babies were kept at the home until they were fostered, maybe adopted, or old enough to be sent to the industrial boarding schools. So we have a little bit of a picture of how things are looking right now from this. So we'll move on to the candle. I do have a candle light in here. and it is actually sparking up there as I am doing this video podcast, and it is a candle of remembrance for the mothers and babies that were in this home. So sorry, distracted me. So we're moving on. In 1975, two boys aged 10 and 12 were playing on the ground of the former home. So it was closed down at this stage. And when they were playing, they found an underground chamber filled with children's skeletons. Locals around the area thought it might have been from victims of the famine, or maybe unbaptized children, and they didn't know how many was there. They thought it might have been a small amount, so they got a priest in to say a prayer, and then they sealed it up for the next 35 years. Yeah, so it was left like that up until about 2012. The site was sealed and the truth of what lay there remained unknown. 2012 came around, and a local historian called Catherine Corliss began her research, and the scale of what happened started to come out, revealing records of children who had died while in the care of the mother and baby home. There were around 796 children whose death certs listed the Tuam home as a place of death. And also around similar time before this, in 2010, a similar discovery happened with a mass grave was uncovered in Dublin, and the remains of 222 infants from the Bethany home, which was actually a Protestant mother and baby institution, was discovered there. I apologise, I did have to actually pause there for a minute. I was getting a little bit upset, and my throat chakra is just all over the place since I've started doing this one, but we're gonna keep going here. So we're moving on to further findings, and further investigations also revealed that there were serious concerns around adoptions, including cases where records were unclear or falsified and children were sent abroad, including the United States. And as I will get into that on the final reflection, and more resources for anyone that wants to dive a little bit deeper on this. So I do know that these are deep and difficult parts of Ireland's dark history, and a lot has been carried and a lot has been left unspoken for a long time. So what I'm doing with these entries is lifting the rug, looking and witnessing what was there and holding it in awareness and remembrance. So we witness at the heart, and I will now move on to some resources if you'd like to dive a little bit deeper into this. So if you feel called to dive a little bit deeper, there is a documentary. You can find it, you can find it on YouTube. It's called Our World 2014, and it is a BBC documentary, Ireland's Hidden Bodies Secrets. There is also some books. The first one is Belonging by Catherine Corliss, 2021. The other one is My Name is Bridget by Alison Riley, 2018. The next one is The Adoption Machine by Paul Jude Redmond. And then the other one is Tuam Babies by Brian Nugent. So in a moment I am going to close this with a little bit of a rattle. You are welcome to join me if you'd like, and I'd also like to close this with just a little final prayer as the candle starts flickering. I light this candle in remembrance. I'll bring it over. Just make sure I don't burn my hair. I light this candle in remembrance of the children who were here and the mothers who carried what was never meant to be carried alone. May what was hidden be witnessed. May what was silenced be honoured. And may there be peace for those who were not given it in this life. So I am going to do a tiny little bit of a rattle here in a moment. Okay, I'm just going to do a tiny little bit of rattling here.